What is going on, travelers? I've been playing this amazing game called Retro Geek Shop Simulator, and it's been giving me these awesome memories and vibes I used to have in the past walking into video game stores. Here are my first impressions. Some cool things I learned about this game. One of them is receiving points from scanning games. If you look to this computer over here, once you scan the little discs you get from the game packs, then you slide one in, it gives you points and slides back out. I really don't understand this, part of the game mechanic, but we'll come back to this in a bit. Another little surprise was pressing up on the D-pad, and I could immediately order the things I needed from a gamepad. How cool is that? I love how the game is themed like that. So you use your gamepad to order your good products, your furniture that you're going to need inside the store, and to expand the store, to even play the little stock market thing we'll talk about later. It's an awesome addition to getting the options out, and a really cool mechanic to give the idea that, okay, this is how I do things around the store. Even having the little drone come over and drop off all the boxes, and trust me, it can carry a lot of boxes. So as we're talking about boxes, you end up having to pick up the box and then bring it into the store. Yeah, there really isn't a cart or a dolly at first. I don't even know if there's one at the end, but we'll soon later on and find out. Carrying the boxes into the store, it really felt like this whole retail thing that I used to do when I was a little younger. It's just that retail management thing that you would do with the inventory and then placing the products on the shelves. That it felt like that whole nostalgia thing, and I really liked that. Now, the mechanic with having to place the boxes, it was you had to pick it up and then you would take the games out and then you place them on the shelf. But there was a way to get around that where you would pick up the box and then actually start placing them out on the shelves. I really didn't know that at first, so I was just picking 6 up and then placing them on the shelf, picking 6 up, placing them on the shelf. And I was like, dude, this is so inefficient. But I learned later on, just hold the box and place the games. Another thing that wasn't really intuitive, which I bet, someone would think, hey, box goes in trash. But you'd think cardboard boxes, they would go in a dumpster for recycling. That's not the case in this game. So if you're wondering what to do with all of those boxes that begin to pile up once you're putting the products within your store, they go to that trash can outside your store, and all you have to do is face it, press the square button, and it goes. And it's like, oh, that's what I'm doing. So the simulation part about that game, in not showing recycling but throwing away, I guess would make more sense than the whole recycling idea, but I think the recycling idea would have been better. So when you start out selling things, you're kind of limited to what you can sell, which are the games that you post up on the shelf, which are the cheapest ones you can buy from your gamepad. And the thing is, you get customers coming in and buying those products. They immediately buy maybe 5 or 10 or whatever number comes up when a customer begins to purchase. Then you end up scanning the item. After you scan the item, then it actually wants you to give the customer change if it's cash. And one of the cooler things was oh my god, I haven't done this in a while. Let me go ahead and actually distribute this cash. And it's missing a $10 bill. I mean, I can kind of see on there, you have 2 5s or you may put in 3 5s, but putting in that $10 bill in that register would have made a big difference. And I think the simulation a little bit more immersive if you just had that $10 bill in there. Plus, it cuts down on the counting for the 5s. But what customers like to buy, and I think that's the most important part, is that you got to pick something that they'll definitely buy a lot of, and then you'll end up getting a bigger gain in purchase. You'll end up saving more money, and you'll kind of move up through the levels and through the ranks and buy more expensive things that they do like. But I made the mistake of buying the more expensive stuff that my level would allow me to, and customers were not happy with that. They were not happy with me raising prices 110%. They were not happy with me buying expensive stuff. So I went down to the cheaper things, and all of a sudden they just started buying. So I do love the fact that the developers added that to the game, where customers are like, nope, I'm not going to buy that. Oh, that looks cheap, I'll buy that instead. It's this whole dynamic in the game that kind of gets you to think and to use your wit on what customers do and don't like. Now, I did mention a little bit earlier on how it's the shop expand from this hole in the wall to a GameStop size that has its own building. And you do that through the gamepad. You would end up going to one of these apps right here, And once you open it, it has different prices for different levels unless you expand the store. But I forgot to mention also that within the gamepad, you also have to pay your bills. You have to pay the rent for the size of the store. You also have to pay your electricity bill. And all that adds up. I mean, you can see already, I'm already at $100 and some, and I'm still a little hole in the wall because I expanded just a little bit. And keeping that in mind, is that just a little bit of responsibility you have to check after each game day, or it's going to begin to pile up and you may or may not have enough cash to pay it. Let's talk about the music. The music with its synthwave and lo-fi is so cool. I love the way it gives you that work music that you can listen to on end, on loop. For some of you who work at like retail stores, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just so catchy and it gets you in that work mood and you're just kind of waiting in there for the customers. And when they come in, they start buying things. You're there at the counter from when you started all the way until the end of the day. And it's not irritating and it's definitely not boring. It keeps you engaged, almost like you would just let it play in the background, as it should. I know we talked about the register mechanic a little bit earlier, but now not only do they give cash, but they also give cards. And when you use the card reader along with the card, you just punch in the numbers, make sure it's correct, and then check out using the square button. It gets to a point where you're switching between card and cash, card and cash, card and cash. I have definitely given the wrong amount of change, and I don't know if the game offsets it so it's correct and it gives you back the correct cash, or it's just like, oh, okay, you just lost that cash to the customer. And that's like, oh, that is so real for a retail store. And then I don't know if you told your manager or not, but I don't think I did. And ultimately, setting prices for the shelves and for the games. When you first put that product on there, it's for free and it asks you to place a price. So like I mentioned earlier, if you don't place anything too high or else they'll be disappointed and won't buy. You could put it lower and they'll accept it. But if you want to get a little bit of profit out of it, you may want to hike it maybe 10% or maybe 100%. I don't know. But when you initially set your price and the customers are happy with that price stays. When your shelf is empty and you put a new product on there, the price stays. Now, with the whole mechanic of discs, on the other hand, that's another placement product you put into your store on a little shelf, and once you put the pricing for that, the pricing varies with this very weird mechanic that I kind of just don't really get. It's more of like the playing the stocks kind of mechanic, where on your gamepad you can pick a different game series and you would activate that and it would give you a chance of having your prices plummet or having your prices rise when you would sell the specific copies of that game disc. So the game provides you with a little stand once you do the tutorial, and once you give these games, you place them and the customers just keep buying it to the point where the shelf is empty. And when that shelf is there and it's empty, customers get disappointed and they walk out of the store. When you get the little stat at the end of the day, it shows you how many disappointed customers there were. And I just can't figure out how to get to the register the customers, and then I don't know how to keep the disc shelf stocked. It's just driving me nuts. Maybe later on down the line I'll figure out, maybe we'll get more employees, maybe I'll keep several of those little things stocked so that way when one runs out, nothing's gonna happen. But that's for the future. I love the fact that you can take this save if you're on PS4 and move it over to PS5. Once you purchase the game, you'll be able to get a purchase of PS4 and PS5 because of that cross-save feature. So you never really have to save on one platform. You can definitely take it over with you to the next one once you purchase that PS5. Big shout out to Nostra Games and PlayStation for letting me check out this game and providing your first impressions. I will have my review out soon. You can pick up the game for about $10 at the PlayStation Store. Go beyond, traveler.